everybody, this is Dr. Stirrett. Welcome to Hormone Fit Club. I'm super excited to be here with you today. We are going to be talking about the 3 ways to fix your hormones right now, today. And I guarantee if you do these 3 things, that you will be a different person in a month. So how can I promise that? Is because I've seen it again and again and again after working with thousands of clients as a naturopathic doctor. But the majority of our clients, when they come to us, they are complaining of fatigue, they're complaining of brain fog, and they're complaining of unwanted weight. And these are middle-aged men and women typically that are coming in. Before I jump into the 3 ways to fix your hormones, I want to do I'm going to back up a little bit, give a little backstory. So my life has really changed drastically in the last few months, and I want to share a little bit with what that's been like for me and how this applies. So basically, 2 months ago, my wife was pregnant. She was 7 months pregnant, and she gave birth 2 months early to our son Asher. And this was a huge shock. Like, we absolutely had no idea that this was coming. So all of a sudden now we're a family of 4. We have an 18-month-old daughter named Timber. She's amazing. But we were cruising along as a family of 3. Next thing you know, we wound up in the hospital in the NICU. It was an emergency situation. I didn't even know. I'm a doctor, for heaven's sake, and I had no idea what was going on. When my wife went into labor 2 months early, I thought she just had something severely wrong with her. We wound up in an ambulance. We were in the emergency room and gave birth very shortly after, with about 10-15 minutes after arriving. So then all of a sudden we're a family of 4. And we're 2 months early, so our little guy, Asher, he was just under 5 pounds when he was born. So we spent 21 days there in the NICU. And I gotta say, shout out to anyone that works or is affiliated with the NICU. As an alternative medicine doctor, I feel like a lot of times patients can really poo-poo on modern healthcare, but when you need modern healthcare, you're grateful for the emergency room, or you're grateful for this specialized unit in the NICU. It was amazing to see everything they did to help my son survive. I have nothing but gratitude for those people. And anyways, there was this experience while we were in there, day in and day out, waiting to take our son home. And in the wee hours of the night, I'm bottle feeding my son. It's 4:00 in the morning. And it really just started this quest for me to further my own personal development. And really, it made me reevaluate my life, and even down to my business and the clients that I'm serving, and where my genius is, where am I strong suited, and where am I being spread too thin? Because all of a sudden now we're a family of 4. I got to start thinking about these things, right? So I say all this because in doing so, in all this reflection, I realized that I'm really being spread thin, or have been spread thin in the past, on who I've been working with. And so going forward, I've just made a conscious decision. I'm going to do what I do best, and that is serve middle-aged men and women that are, high-level, serious individuals, type A personalities that are really committed to getting a result. I don't want to work with people anymore that are wishy-washy and just looking for a quick fix, because those are the people that when I can give them all the advice in the world, and it's draining on me, and they don't end up getting that much better, right? A lot of times those types of people actually do end up getting better, but it takes a lot of extra work on my part and a lot of hand holding. And I'm just at a stage in my career. I've been a doctor now for 7 years, and I'm just at a place where I want to work with people that want to work with me. They're ready to take my advice, they're ready to jump off, and they're ready to get better. Because what's really rewarding for me as a provider is actually seeing these people go from not sleeping well, exhausted, low libido, just everything, feeling like just waking up exhausted and gaining weight that won't come off, and feeling like they're just stuck in a rut. So a lot of people will just identify with that. Like, man, I just feel like I'm stuck. And it's like, I read all these blog posts and I watch all these YouTube videos and podcasts, and I find these I tried this supplement, or I tried keto, I tried this. And a lot of times people, they need something more. And so that's where I come in, and I can give you the literal blueprint on how to pull yourself out of that and to thrive. And so I say all that because it was just a point of revelation for me, and knowing that I want to work with high level individuals that also are ready and committed to working with me and doing the stuff, putting in the work to doing what I tell them to do. So how does this relate to these 3 ways to fix hormones? It's because health is not complicated. It can be extremely complicated, but when we break things down, any disease broken down, if you follow this simple rubric that I'm about to share with you, you are going to see drastic changes in your life. You'll see drastic changes in your relationships and how the energy that you have to send into those relationships, right? To attribute to those relationships. So without any further ado, number 1, and when it comes to fixing your hormones, healing your hormones, and I'm talking about estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, thyroid, cortisol. So number 1 is going to be optimizing digestion. It is the pillar that all of these things stand on, the absolute pillar. So digestion, you're going to say, okay, well, yeah, I'm sure digestion's somewhat important, but you probably didn't realize how important it is. So you have to realize something. The amount of inflammation that you have in your body is entirely dependent on what you're consuming, right? That's what you're eating, what you're drinking, and really beyond that, the environment that you're exposed to, right? So if you take digestion into account, that's like 2/3 of what I just said. So breaking it down further, what happens if you're not digesting your food well, it means that there's inflammation. And if there's inflammation, then you're going to be carrying extra water weight. It's going to be impossible to lose weight if you're holding on to extra inflammation. It's going to be impossible for your hormones to heal themselves. Now, again, if you watched in a previous video, I always state that the body is capable of healing itself. It just takes the right environment to do so, right? So under this scenario, digestion is incredibly important because if you're inflamed from what you're eating, then your body's going to upregulate something called cortisol. And we know through scientific paper after paper after paper, what does cortisol do? Well, it downregulates your hormones. It stops production of growth hormone. It slows production of testosterone. It increases your blood sugar over time. And what does increased blood sugar over time equate to? Insulin resistance, right? Metabolic syndrome. And you can start to see how this ties into your overall health, right? Fatigue, exhaustion, weight gain, brain fog. Just increased blood sugar alone and pushing you towards metabolic syndrome can have a profound impact on that. So your digestion is important. And if you take anything away today, know that your digestive health, like if you're somebody that's struggling with like heartburn, burping after eating, bloating after eating, pain after eating, constipation, diarrhea, heartburn, any of this stuff, then yes, you have problems with digestion and you know that you're going to be having a level of hormonal suppression because of this. So if you're somebody who's out there, you're struggling, if you're exhausted all the time, you're not sleeping well, and you also have a digestive issue, then you absolutely need to focus on that because that is going to be the root further down the line, health problems, right? So it's not an if, but a when. Now, how does one go about improving their digestion? Well, it's fairly intuitive, right? It's kind of like a 2-part process, if you will. For starters, you really need to be able to remove the foods out of the diet that are causing the inflammation. Now, I could say that all day, and it sounds very intuitive, right? But a lot of clients struggle with knowing what those things are. So sometimes we can do something like an IgG food allergy test or other types of testing to figure that out. But in reality, it's gonna be your dairy products, your highly inflammatory dairy products. It's gonna be your processed foods, anything that comes out of a box, a can, anything that is processed, the chippies, if you will. My daughter calls chips chippies right now. It's the cutest thing in the world. But these are the foods that are going to be causing or promoting digestive issues. And a lot of times it's digestive problems accumulate over time. So it's not like one bag of chips that does you in. It's like the burger, the fries, the shake, and the bag of chips on a daily basis that kind of like squirt a little gasoline on the fire at a time. And before long, you get hormone suppression and you end up digging yourself into a hole. Because I find that when people are not eating well, there are also other things are usually slacking too in their life. And I can see this in my own life too. Like when we were in the hospital, we had a tendency to like want to eat out because we didn't have the time to be at home because we were at the hospital, right? So I completely empathize for people that don't have as much time, but we really need to be able to get into a good routine where you're doubling down on cooking your meals at home and focusing on eating foods that are going to promote digestive health. Okay? Very important. The next part is going to be calming the fire, if you will. So sometimes I'll have patients do elimination diets. Sometimes I'll have patients take high intensity probiotics to help with, restoring gut flora. All of this stuff is extremely important when it comes to digestive health. But a lot of times I do believe that it does take a provider, an experienced provider, to tease out what it is you need for yourself, certainly. And that being said, you can guess that you have hormone problems, or you can actually get your hormone levels checked. And a lot of times your normal medical doctor, like I said, everyone has their own specialty. Like in the NICU, taking care of my son, they were very specialized. They took very good care of my son. We are now home and everybody is safe. And so thank you to them. But just like that, you go to your medical doctor, you start asking for hormone tests, and you're going to basically, even if they run them, you're not going to get a call back because they're just going to tell you they're normal. Because then maybe they fell within a normal range and your doctor just didn't have the additional training that they needed. Because they don't teach this stuff in medical school. So what you actually have to go to is you have to go to a doctor, a functional medicine doctor, a naturopathic doctor like myself, to be able to look at these levels and know exactly what's going on and what's low normal, what's high normal, what's relative to your age group, or for a female that's menstruating versus in menopause. Like, all these normal ranges are the same. And so your normal doctor is just going to be like, yeah, it looks fine, you're good, it's not your hormones, it must be just something else, probably just need to get more sleep, right? When really, it's actually, the root of it is always going to have something to do with digestion. Now, I've had clients that argue with me about this, but I have never, almost 7 years of being in practice, I have not had a single patient that didn't need their digestive tract tuned up, that was coming to me for hormonal issues. So keep that in mind. If that's you, then the digestive tract needs to be first up on your radar, and you need to begin thinking about dealing with it, right? Finding a provider to help you, or even just trying to do things at home to help calm that digestive system down. Okay, so these are quick and easy things that you can do at home. So let's just eat the difference between eating crappy food, eating food that's good, and avoiding stuff that you probably already know is bad. That's number one. Number two is gonna also have to do with food. But really, for hormones, we need building blocks. We need recovery. We need power. So there is a certain type of nutrient that we're gonna need, many nutrients in fact, but the one that most Americans fall short on is actually going to be protein. Protein, all right? Not vegan pea protein powder, guys. We're talking about real animal protein. And yes, I'll make this claim right now, I am pro carnivore diet. I know some of you are gonna be like, oh gosh, turn it off now. Don't, because I'm also a big proponent for eating a well-balanced diet, and not all people are the same. The carnivore diet is really one-sided, when it comes to just basically eating a bunch of beef and cheese. I don't want anybody to do that, but we need to prioritize red meat in our diet and stop criminalizing it. Because most of the research that's been done on that saturated fat content includes things like salami and deli meat, which we know are terrible for you, and they're from corn-fed cows. For instance, in my family, we process a elk and some venison, a deer, every year, and that feeds our family. And we eat these things, and we're all very healthy. I guarantee none of our cholesterol is up, because I've seen our labs. And I know that when we are eating these proteins on a consistent basis, we all feel more energized, we all feel better. Now, when it comes to your hormones, we need these building blocks. We need these amino acids. These proteins, they break down in our digestive system to the smallest level as amino acids, and they become building blocks to build in our body. And I would say that the biggest issue that I see in people with hormonal suppression, particularly, it's men and women actually. Anytime I see low testosterone in men or higher estrogen in men, or then vice versa in women, a disparity between estrogen and progesterone, either in cycling females or that same type of an issue even in menopausal females, what we'll see is that these individuals are not consuming enough protein. So how much is enough protein? Right? Enough protein is going to be, they say, 1 gram of protein per your ideal body weight per day. I don't always agree with this, because I think that you can get kidney damage sometimes, beyond 130 grams of protein a day could be too much. And plus, what happens when people are weigh 200 pounds? 200 grams of protein is a lot of protein, and then that can be really damaging to the liver and kidneys. And trust me, I've run the lab, I've seen the results. So you want to be cognizant of that. Now, I would shoot for, if you're a woman, and this is not medical advice, I'm just saying in general, if I had to advise women across the board, if I had to write a book on it, I would say women really need beyond 60 to 80 grams of protein a day. If you're getting below 60 grams of protein a day, you're severely deficient. Men, 80 to 100. If you're getting below 80 grams of protein today as a male, then you're not getting enough protein to fuel the fire. So what are people usually getting per day? Well, most people tell me that they are either skipping breakfast or lunch, one of the two, because they're too busy. Or maybe they're like intermittent fasting or something like that to try to lose weight. So they don't really eat breakfast. They have coffee, and then they're only eating 2 meals a day. And even if they're trying to lose weight, maybe they're eating just like a salad for one of those meals with not much protein on it, but they're still having all the other goodies on there. This is a recipe for disaster, guys. If you're doing that, then you need to reevaluate. What I call for is protein at every meal, and at least 25 to 30 grams of it. That way, you're at least getting to 25 grams per day, 30 grams per day, you're at least getting to 90. And this can be easily done. Trust me. But if you're somebody who's only used to getting 25 grams of protein today, it's going to seem like a lot, and you're going to have to change your diet up. But this will give your body the building blocks to actually optimize your hormones and set that stage for healing on its own. The last thing that I want to talk about is weightlifting, okay? And this is a whole nother can of worms, but the third thing that can fix your hormones in a hurry is weightlifting. And most women, what do they tell me? It's setting the stage. They don't have the best digestion, they're not getting enough protein, and they're doing cardio but not enough weight training. So they're doing the yoga, they're doing the bar, they're doing spin class, they're doing Orange Theory workouts, when these are not the types of exercises that help people lose weight. And as a matter of fact, I've seen plenty of people with metabolic syndrome that exercise like that every single day. And when it comes to reversing metabolic syndrome, decreasing blood sugar, decreasing your weight, and optimizing hormone function, there needs to be a degree of weightlifting involved for both men and for women. I'd say a good place to start, if you are not used to doing this, is 3 to 4 times per week. And if you have not been used to lifting weights before, then please hire a personal trainer at least 1 day a week. Like, this will be one of the best investments that you could possibly make as a person. I guarantee if you start eating a little healthier, pay attention to the things that are causing digestive issues and cut those out, increase your protein intake, start working out 3 to 4 times a week for weight training, your hormones are going to begin to fix themselves. And this is the most valuable advice that I could give to you in 20 minutes here. If you're getting value from this, please like it. It helps YouTube algorithm. If you're enjoying the content, please subscribe and click that little bell next to it so it'll let you know when videos are coming out. I'm going to be posting once a week. So if you're finding this valuable, then go ahead and like and subscribe, and I will go ahead and see you next time. Take care.